Nathan Carter, you're very, very welcome to the programme, and
Good
thank
afternoon,
you very much.
Hugo.
Thanks very much for coming on to us. It's lovely having you here, and I must say, I know you're working very, very hard, but it's doing you no harm. You're looking well.
I've been trying to eat healthy since Christmas, and I was off for a couple of weeks, and I went to America, and I put on about a stone. So I've been trying to slim down since. You know.
And I must say, you got the haircut this morning, did you?
I did. How did you know? You got the ears low.
Tell me this. Tell the people who Mary up here or Mary Mike put your mind off.
Mrs. Doyle from Father Dead. I arrived at about 15 minutes ago, and I thought I'm in good time for the show. And then Mary then decided to take me to the canteen, and I said I didn't want anything, but she says you will, and you'll have biscuits, and you'll have tea, and you'll have cream buns. And so I've been stuffing my face ever since.
How would you like to work with two of them?
Well, I'd say I'd be about 20 stone by the time I leave, to be honest with you.
Well, you have no problem with your figure anyway, and you're doing some good business. And I know since you signed up with the Decca label, you're doing fantastic work over around about England and a lot of promotion over there as well. Yeah,
well, I've been very busy since I got back about 5-6 weeks ago. We started gigging, and I've been to England every week. Sort of Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, going around the radio stations, doing a bit of TV, and we've called into an Irish centre every city we've been in. Just like off the cuff thing, a bit of an acoustic thing. Yes. Me and John, who plays guitar with us. So we were in Birmingham the other day, and we visited Glasgow and Liverpool and Manchester, and it was great. And I did a gig in Liverpool, which I haven't done in years since I left Liverpool about 6 years ago, and I was never as nervous in my life. There was a load of my friends turned up from school, and loads of family that I haven't seen in ages. So it was about 250 people in St Michael's Irish Centre in Liverpool, and I've played some really big gigs over the last couple of years, and I've been so grateful to play them. But I've never been as nervous as last week in Liverpool, playing to the 200 and odd people that were there. I tell you,
you know, Nathan, you're after saying you left and you come over here 6 years ago. It was a big step for you because you were well established over as a one-man band around the Liverpool and all around that area, and to come over here and sort of walk away from that, how did you feel?
Yeah, well, it was a big step, and you know, I'd been playing the pubs and clubs around England since I was 16. I left school at 16, and my nan used to drive me to all the gigs because I couldn't drive. You've met me nan. She's
it's a lovely woman.
74, but thinks she's 24, like, you know. But so she used to drive me to all the pubs, the clubs, and the Irish centres in London. I remember playing in the Galtymore when it was there. That was one of my last gigs as a solo act before Big Tom. He closed it. He did 2 nights, and I supported him on one of them. And I was never as nervous in my life, you know, standing me and a keyboard singing to 2,500 people, like, you know.
You mentioned your granny and your school days and the whole lot. When did you realise that music was going to be your career?
I remember sitting in primary school and just dreaming about being on stage and dreaming about having a band. That was the big thing, having a band and being able to go on tour. And you know, I grew up listening. Well, every day after school I went to my nan and granddad's house. They picked me up. And this was from the age of about 5 till I was about 10. And every day my granddad would have, you know, the country singers on, people like Johnny Cash. It was record, you know, the old big records then. He had a record player, so we'd be playing Johnny Cash and Buck Owens and Merle Haggard, and he loved Dolly Parton.
So did I.
I think there was 2 big reasons why he liked Dolly Parton. but yeah, so I grew up on that sort of stuff since I was a kid. I mean, Nan loved all the Daniel O'Donnell, and she loved the Dubliners and Johnny McAvoy and Hugo Duncan and
I'm glad you said
Brendan
that.
Shine and Sean Wilson. So, you know, that was me growing up. And
would your grandmother have been the sort of the figure that led you into the music?
Definitely. I'd say if it wasn't for Nan, I wouldn't be here today. You know, my mum and dad were very supportive, but my nan really pushed me, if you like, you know. And it was I know there is pushy grandparents, but my nan wasn't that pushy. She knew I wanted to do it, so she'd drive me to music lessons. She'd pay to get me a new accordion, or take me here, take me there, everywhere, you know. So
who bought your first accordion?
Father Christmas.
Father Christmas, did he? You see, Father Christmas is a very nice man. So he brought you the first accordion
at the age of 5. I thought I was a mini Brendan Shine for about 5 years.
We had Brendan Shine in here one day, and I mentioned that to him as well. That, you know, you held him in you actually called in that day, I think. And
I did, yeah. When he was on, he was getting. Yeah, I remember texting. Yeah.
So it was very good. It meant a lot to him too.
Brendan and Sean Wilson. I remember going to the Irish Centre in Liverpool, watching Sean Wilson, and just, you know, being mesmerised by this accordion, you know.
And you didn't realise where you were going to end up?
No, I didn't, and I could do with some lessons, to be honest. Since
Do you remember the first Irish record you bought?
the first Irish record I ever bought, I don't.
No.
I have a bad memory now, to be honest.
But you're into the accordion playing like Brandon Shine.
Yeah, no. Well, I was a big fan of Johnny McAvoy for a long time, to be honest.
He
I
penned
loved
some
his
great
stuff,
songs.
and I loved his songwriting, and loved his songs. I mean, a lot of them were kind of slow ballads and stuff, you know, and it wouldn't have been the happiest of songs, but no, I always really admired his songwriting and his voice, you know.
And you've started to go down that road yourself with some of the songs.
Yeah, well, I've been writing a good bit the last couple of years. Been to Nashville and written with a couple of writers there, and every month I try and sit down with different writers and come up with stuff, you know. I'd just have stuff written in the phone, you know, a couple of ideas, and we'd sit down and come up with a tune or come up with a so the new album that I'm bringing out in May will have 3 or 4 of my own songs on, which is great, you know. Gives me something to that's fresh, brand new stuff. It's really good, you know, and I love recording older stuff, you know, and give them a new feel, but there's something about a new song, like, you know.
You know, I'm sure there's a lot of people here who go out to see Nathan on a very, very regular basis, and probably they're wondering what the connection was with Northern Ireland and what the connection was around the Enniskillen area. And like, you're there now, and it's like a second. It is your home, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I've been when I originally moved over, I was living in Donegal for 3 years with my nan's best friend, the McClays up there in Donegal, and then I moved to Enniskillen. Basically because John Farry, who was managing me, lived in Fermanagh, and I was travelling up there all the time to meet him and go for meetings and radio interviews and all that sort of stuff. So I fell in love with Enniskillen, and I love being on the water. If I'm off, I love going water skiing, or I'd be into being in the.
What is your hobbies?
Well, to be honest, I don't really like sports that much. I'm the worst football player you've ever seen, I think, in your life. I'm rubbish at everything, to be honest. But you know, so my hobbies are I like going to the cinema, and I like being on the water, going water skiing, or taking the boat out. You know, that's good fun.
And you like that?
Oh,
and like, you couldn't have picked a better place to go on the boats.
Enniskillen is great now.
Fermanagh is beautiful.
Apart from the weather, I mean, it's apart from that, it's great. Like.
And then where you were born and reared in Liverpool, sure, it's got its connections with the boats.
Oh, well, this is it, and that was actually one of the songs I co-wrote a couple of years back that did really well for us, The Boat to Liverpool.
That's right.
Still do it at the live gigs now, and I was actually in Belfast 2 weeks ago, visiting Charlie Lansbury, who was playing in the Opera House.
Right.
And it was great to meet up with him, because I brought Charlie in to the video for that song, and his friend Ricky Tomlinson as well.
Right.
Ricky introduced Charlie on the stage in the Opera House 2 weeks ago, so it was great to meet up with them and brought back some great memories. Had
you known Charlie before you came over here?
I did, yeah. Just through the musicians in his band, and my granddad took me to see him a good few times whenever I was young, and always thought Charlie's show was brilliant. He's such a funny man. Like, his jokes in between songs and his little stories that he tells he's brilliant, you know.
I'm just smiling here when you said whenever I was young. When you're my age, you have a right to say that. Not your age. You're a young man yet, and you're playing.